Hello everyone, good evening. Hello everyone, good evening. Can we all hear me? Please, can we have confirmation that you can hear me? Good evening. Can we hear me? Can we hear me? Oh, all right. Thank you, Sandy. Chigozie. All right. So please, just before we go ahead and start, I want us to try to reach out to our co-mentees, right? Who are supposed to be on call. That we've started session. Sorry, that we started the session already. I'll try to see. Hello everyone. Good evening. Can we all hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Thank you very much, Neolua, for confirming. Welcome to class, everyone. Good evening. We are in week 3 of the entertainment, business, and law class session of the JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship program, and I am sure that so far it has been quite an interesting journey for all of us. Um, Before we do a lot of introduction into class, and start the programs properly, I would just like for us to have a quick chat, just us interacting in the next few minutes, just to get a little feedback from the mentees or from you guys on how the program has been so far for you. Your experience with the entertainment, business, and law session, has it been something that has met your expectation, or has it fallen below your expectation within that sense? So we'll just be having a little discussion while we wait to have a little more people in class so that we can start the session properly. So here's how we're going to go. I think we'll start with Chigozie. Chigozie, please, if you can, please unmute and just in a few minutes, just tell us how your experience with the JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship program has been so far.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening. We can hear you.
Okay, in my experience, it has been okay. I like the fact that it has been interactive. The mentors that had come, in fact, the first session, I was so impressed that even Miss Uzagba Esquire, she even went to the extent of listening to one of the mentees. Okay, that was when we were talking about bars, whether bars in Lagos, whether they register with CMOs, collective management organizations. So one of the mentees was like, yes, that there was a place he had encountered. So she was like, okay, could you educate me on that? When, where, how, that kind of thing. So in my own experience, it has been good, it has been great. The environment is conducive for my own assimilation because it has been interactive. I mean, we go first, we research, so that we don't just come to listen and receive. We also come not just as listeners, but also as contributors. And the teamworks that are given to everybody we go back to our groups and we share the subtopics among us. And so one way or the other, everybody is involved. Everybody is carried along. Unlike the situation whereby the mentors come and dish out the information, and sometimes, these long lectures, sometimes they get boring and all that. But no, it wasn't structured that way. Everybody is meant to contribute and also learn from each other. So in my own opinion, in my own experience so far, it has been something I look towards attending. So that is my own experience. I look towards attending each session because every session has been very interactive, interesting. There's been no boring moments. So that is my own experience. Thank you. Hello.
All right, thank you, Chigozie, for that wonderful feedback from you. Sorry, my speaker was unmuted. I was muted rather, and I did not know. So what a wonderful feedback. We thank you so much for the encouragement in that sense. At least it tells us that we are doing something right, in that we are doing something right. So what we'll be doing is that we'll be taking to other people's feedback, and then we'll start the class proper. Can we have Iniolua? Please, can we have just you tell us, how the program has been so far for you? Have you had any peculiar experience within the session that has stood out for you?
Okay, hi, good evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening,
So,
Iniolua.
I'd say so far the classes has been really insightful and educative. I the last two sessions, yes, I did enjoy it a lot. Yes, it was very insightful. I learned a lot, even like more than me reading up and all. Or maybe that's just my own way of learning. But then the only thing I have issues with is the time management. That's the only thing that I have issues with. But every other thing, the learning, everything is good. Yes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your feedback. We'll do well to try to see how best to control our timing within the classes so that we don't get to overshoot the time. So sorry about that, but we are working on it to ensure that the process itself is seamless and everybody has a great time in the session. So we'll be taking one last feedback. And okay, Rejoice, please, if you can, we would want to hear from you. How has the program been so far for you? Is there anything peculiar about the program you have enjoyed? If you would like to share with us, we would like to listen. Rejoice, are you with us? Okay. Okay, so not to waste any time, we'll just be taking one. It seems Rejoice is not with us. We'll be taking someone else. Kaimit. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name very well. Please, you can help me with the accurate pronunciation, maybe when you're mute. So please, can you share with us anything that has stood out for you in peculiar aside to the program so far? Kaimate, can you hear me? Okay. How about Goodness? Goodness, are you with us? Goodness, please, are you with us? All right. Okay, please, can someone? Okay, okay. All right, no problem, no problem. I was wondering whether if it was from my end, but that's good to hear. All right, so not to waste any of our time again, right? We'll be going into the session proper. Right. Our mentor for today is going to be joining us shortly. She's running a little bit late, but I want to kindly encourage us to reach out to other people, members within our groups, send them the link so that they can join in for the session, and we can have a full class. Please, I also want us to get ready for presentations, right? Group presenters, please, when you are called up for your presentation, we don't want there to be any like waste of time or wastage of time in terms of you coming up to present. If you need help with your slides, you can just kindly let me know. I will start. I'll try to see if I can share your slides for you while you present so that we don't have the issue where you cannot we are trying to put your screen up and it's taking so much time. So please, when you are called up, please try to do that immediately, without me having to recall and recall again. To properly introduce this session, my name is Dennis Williams. I'll be your moderator for today. Our topic for today is fashion, business, and law. Our mentor is running a little bit late, but she'll be joining us shortly. And that is Miss Bernice Ofunre Asien. Um, Miss Bernice is a visionary, Miss Bernice Esquire, a visionary in the field of fashion law with a multifaceted legal background and a deep commitment to excellence. Miss Bernice has made significant strides. Miss Bernice has made significant strides in the fashion industry. Her educational journey stands as a testament of her dedication. Bernice's passion for fashion law took her to the prestigious Milano Fashion Institute in Milan, Italy, where she honed her expertise on an international stage. She has earned certifications in intellectual property law from the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, and advanced intellectual property valuation from Intellectual Property Institute. As the founder of Cardinal Counsel, a leading fashion law firm in Lagos, Nigeria, Ms. Bernice has constantly demonstrated innovation and excellence. Her diverse clientele includes fashion and creative brands, startups, fashion technology companies, investors, models, and influencers. Her ability to navigate the intricate intersection of law and fashion has solidified her reputation as a trusted legal advisor within the industry. Ms. Benny's expertise encompasses various aspects of fashion law, including including intellectual property rights, contract negotiation, employment law, employment law, and more. Her profound understanding of legal frameworks ensures that her guidance and education are tailored specifically to the fashion industry. To the fashion industry. Sorry, 1 minute. I'm having a little time seeing the screen very well. So sorry about that. To the fashion industry. Additionally, Ms. Bernice holds a certificate in tax law from the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. She is also a member of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, an associate member of the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators and the Nigerian Bar. Currently, she is at the final stage of completing her LLM at Backup University. Her commitment to advancing the field of fashion law is exemplified through her role as the founder of the Fashion Law Institute. This groundbreaking institute is dedicated to addressing the gap in fashion law in Africa, advocating for legal reforms, fortifying accountability, and conducting essential research within the African fashion industry. She actively participates as a speaker and facilitator at African fashion industry. She actively participates as speaker and facilitator at various fashion and creative industry events, training programs, workshop. Ms. Bernice's works continues to shape the future of fashion law in Africa and beyond. Miss Venice is still yet to join us. Like we earlier said, she'll be running a little bit late, but she's our mentor for today. And fortunately, she was also a former mentee, if I would like to add, with the Gypsy Mentorship and Internship program, right? So, one of our dreams and our goals, right, for our mentees is that they come to the point where they advance in their career, that they can come and give back to new or future mentees, right? So we want that we build such a relationship with you after this program, that you are able to come back and become a mentor, if that will be possible, as you advance in your career, if that will be possible. So still not to waste any time, right? While we still wait our next, okay. Miss Bernice is already here with us. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining. We're happy to have you on call. You're welcome, Ma.
Yeah, okay. Oh,
Yes, Ma, we can hear you. You're welcome. So, we've already introduced you, we've read your profile, and we just want to give you the opportunity in the next 20 to, let's say, 30 minutes for, your discourse into the topic for today.
hello? Hello?
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, so I
Okay,
was
so
saying that.
okay, yes, I'm listening.
Yes, so I was saying that we've already done an introduction, introduced you to the class, and we've read your profile, and we just want to, in the next, maybe for the next 30 minutes, right, get your discourse into the topic or the subject matter for today. That's fashion, business, and law.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm just trying to look for my slides. So very unusually, I just go home and then there's no lights and my inverter is dead. So that's why I joined late. So I'm trying to use my phone to project my slides. I don't know if I sent the slides earlier. Just trying to search my phone for it. Hello?
I'm not sure you did. Maybe you can send your slides back to us, and then we'll try and see if we can project from our end.
To be honest, I'm sure that my slides will be here because it's what I use every. Okay, I found it. I'm using my phone and I don't know if. But you can hear me properly, right?
Yes, loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear.
You said?
I said we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Just give me a minute. Okay, can you screen, please? Never done this before with my phone, so maybe we will just proceed. I know that the slides that I'm about to use is the one I took. There's a problem. I think I can't hear anybody or get any feedback.
Okay, sorry, we didn't hear what you said. Did you say anything?
Oh,
I
okay.
just
I
thought.
said I can't I can't share my screen. It seems like it's a problem. The phone is it seems like I can't do that.
All right, no problem. You
So
can just maybe discuss the respective.
okay, that's fine.
Thanks, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So thank you so much for inviting me. This is one of the topics that I like to share on. So as previously introduced, my name is Bernice Asen. I'm a fashion lawyer, founder of the Fashion Law Institute and Cardinal Counsel. Fashion business law. So typically when I start this, I always talk about, because I believe that I'm talking to law students or lawyers, right? So I like to break my presentation into 5 key points. So I'll be talking about specialization in law practice, laws and regulations, service offered by fashion lawyers, skills required to be in fashion law, the importance and relevance of fashion. So I like to always start by talking about specialization in law, because I think it's one of the reasons why we have different niches, right? And a lot of questions that is always on the minds of young lawyers is should I specialize in, what industry, things like that. So I like to always throw the definition or my own view on specialization, and I like to divide it into two, and that's the industry specialization and subject matter specialization. So industry specialization is basically focusing on a particular industry and providing legal services in that industry. So when you focus on a particular industry, right, it means that you'll be doing an array of things. For example, fashion law. When you say that, oh, you're a fashion lawyer focused on the fashion industry, it means that you will be dealing with legal issues that emanate from a brand, from an organization, from an individual that works in the fashion industry end to end. What I mean by end to end is, if it's going to be a business, it means you will be concerned with the formation, and also when they create a product, when it gets to the final consumer, you get a clear understanding. When I define what fashion law really is, if you talk about healthcare law or medical law, right, you will see that that's a particular industry that everything can apply. Different subject matter in the legal field we apply to the industry, IP, right, contract, negligence, those things will apply. Criminal law, all of those things would apply because they are subject matter that play. There'll be financing, there'll be different subject matters that would be relevant to that industry. So when you are looking at specialization, look at it from the angle of industry and subject matter. Litigation is also a subject matter because regardless of the industry, people would always go to court. In fashion, right? When people say, oh, I want to focus on fashion because I don't want to go to court and stuff like that. That's, I mean, I'm sorry to cause your bubble, but you will do litigation. If you look internationally, you would see that a lot of fashion brands are always suing each other, right, for counterfeiting, breach of contract, things like that. That means that litigation is a core aspect of of the creative industry, or fashion law in particular, that we're talking about today. There is also transaction. A lot of contracts happen. There's a lot of relationship. There's a lot of collaboration, partnerships in the fashion industry. That would also, suffice. Then subject matter is basically a specialization focusing on a specific area of law, regardless of the industry involved. So
Sorry, am I the only one that cannot hear these things? Look, please, can we all hear me? Hello, can we hear me? Okay, Miss Benis, are you still with us? Please, we cannot hear you anymore. Miss Benis, can you hear us? We can't hear you anymore. Okay, I think it's either from my end or she may not be able to hear us currently. She may be having some network challenge. So sorry about that, but I'm sure she will be rejoining us very soon to continue with the session. Please let's be a little patience and then try to also prepare from our ends for our presentation. Well, please, I would like to really see if we are together in class, right? So please, if you are here in class and you are listening, please, can you show by, an indication of hands or something? Oh, okay. Okay, okay. So while we wait for her to join back in, I would like for us to take our picture. As for those of us that have sufficient lighting in our background, as we wait for her to join back in. Please please turn on your video so that we can take a quick screenshot of today's class. And then, as soon as she joins back in, we'll continue with the session. Please, if you can, kindly turn on your video camera so that we can see you. Okay. Thank you, Fina, if I'm not mistaken. I remember in the last class you were the one tagged as HP. Thank you, Fina. All right, can we have more mentees? Oh, sorry, it seems like we have quite a number of us that are in very, very dark backgrounds. Can we have more mentees with a little lighting in their background on their videos, if that would be possible? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chigozie. All right, thank you, everyone. And I think we're done with the video itself. Let me try and see if I can reach back out to Miss Benis to get her to join back into this session.
Hello.
Yes, hello, we can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you, ma. We can hear you, ma.
Oh, this network. Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hello?
I said we can hear you. We can hear you. Yes, hello, ma. Hello, ma. Can you hear us? Miss Venice, can you hear us? We can hear you.
Hello? Hello, Dennis, can you hear me? Hello? Oh, okay. Oluwadun. Okay. I can. I'm so sorry for that. My network went off and I was just talking and then I realized that nobody could hear me. Okay. I'm using my screen now, so I think I can also share my screen. So I'm trying to share my screen so that everyone can see because I'm currently using my laptop. Oh, okay. That's all. Please let me know when you can see my screen, please.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Oh, finally. I apologize sincerely for this. I don't know. It's also very unlike us not to have lights, but here we are. Anyway, just so good. So I was basically talking about the various specialization that exist, right? Now I will just move on to so overview of fashion business, right? There are okay. Yeah, so overview of fashion businesses. So fashion business is very wide, right? So every single time I like to give this breakdown because when you understand how fashion business works, you most likely will be able to identify what laws would, qualify as fashion laws. So fashion business encompasses a range of interconnected components from creation, to retailing the product. And I think even when the product is used by the final consumer, there are various aspects of the fashion industry that involves design, manufacturing, supply chain, marketing, and retail. It consists of a lot of key players, right, from the raw material suppliers down to e-commerce platform and consumers. And even after consumers have finished using this product, like I mentioned before, how exactly is waste managed? All of those things come under the overview of what a fashion business, right? So what then is fashion law? I like to say that fashion law is a specific field of law that deals with legal issues that impact the fashion industry, and is a body of law that governs the various operations of the fashion industry, from when an idea is conceived and when you start sourcing the materials, when you start putting them together, and then you decide that, okay, we finished this particular product and we are going to export it down to a different country or to the, wholesalers. And then after that, after somebody uses the product, what exactly, how do we manage waste? Those are things that I believe that fall under, or what makes fashion law, basically. Yes, so there are various myths, right? One of the things that I always like to dismantle is what people have in their head when they think about fashion law as a practice area. People like to think about it as fashion law is all about intellectual property. The reason I gave the breakdown of fashion business is because there are so many aspects to a fashion brand that there are a lot of moving parts that has little to nothing to do with IP, right? So yes, IP is a central part of a fashion brand, is the creativity that they are selling, it is the product. However, when that is done, right, the other moving parts that makes a fashion brand operational also is not all about IP. It's transaction, it's sustainability, it's environmental impact of that product, right? So when you're looking to get into fields like this, intellectual property might be your starting point, but it should not be where you end. Right. There are many other areas that you would have to look at holistically. A lot of times people like to also think that fashion law is about the business of fashion. I like to also make reference to LVMH, for example. If you go through their product in the various sectors, right, you will see that they have other products other than apparels, right? They have perfume, they have wine, they have lifestyle products, they have lifestyle products, they have shoes, they have accessories, they have bags, they have everything. So every time we're dealing with the fashion industry, sometimes people like to think that it is just about the making of the clothes. Every time that you see that people talk about, fashion, they want to talk about apparel only. As I work in the industry, there are many, many, many players to the industry that are very important as a lawyer that you have to pay attention to. I was in a meeting today, and one of the conversations that we're talking, because we're talking with stylists, and stylists, they were talking about how that they generate certain styles for designers, right? And how do that happen? When they come up with the concept for their clients, they give a designer to translate. So you are seeing that in the fashion industry, stylists, right? People who come up with the concept of what people would be wearing and how, you want to break down your look. I also wanted to claim intellectual property. So when you're looking at the industry, you're not only looking at, because every single time it bothers me a lot when people just, talk about fashion business and they just talk about, oh, this person clothes, this person design, and that. Like there's so much more to the fashion industry. And as lawyers, we have to be talking about other areas, other angles to the product that are distributed in the fashion industry. Their shoes. Nigerians and Africans in general create a lot of creative and beautiful pieces when it comes to footwear, right? But we rarely talk about intellectual property to protect footwear. What of handbags, for example, jewelries, perfumes. We have a lot of brands that are going into these other areas that are different from just corsets and dresses. So you have to look at the fashion industry more than just the business of fashion, that's sewing, right? Fashion law is not a subfield of intellectual property. Every single time you see that there is a broad heading of intellectual property, and when you say, oh, under it, you see fashion, you see entertainment, you see creativity. I think, the way that we like to flip it is that there's a broad heading of fashion law, and intellectual property is a pillar of fashion law, while you have other players or other key aspects like environmental law. And I think I'll touch that on the next or subsequent slides. So fashion law also denotes, or does not only denote the legal and regulatory framework applicable to the garment industry. I think I talked about that. There are other ethical factors that underpins the operations of fashion. I think I will talk about that in the slides. So there are a lot of stakeholders in the fashion industry. There are workers, artisans, manufacturers, lawyers, fashion shows, advertising agency, fashion businesses, designers, fashion technology company, fashion professionals generally who provide auxiliary services, celebrities, talent agencies, shopping malls, retail stores, consumers. There are a lot of stakeholders in the industry. So every single time I like to do this breakdown so that you will understand the key players in the fashion industry so that when you're positioning yourself as a fashion lawyer, you know who your clientele is. I like to teach from that angle because the reason why we are here is because, we are lawyers and we provide a service to a particular industry and we most likely want to make money, right, at the very top of our goal. So one of the things you have to do is identify which stakeholders, what are the stakeholders in the fashion industry so that I can tailor my service to them. And the reason I'm also identifying this is that people like to think that the fashion industry is very niche. When you want to focus on fashion law, it looks like you're just focusing on just one thing. But I can tell you that even focusing on fashion law is a very broad area, right? You're providing services to organizations in the fashion industry, to people who are providing their properties as real estate to fashion brands. You're thinking about models. You're thinking about influencers, celebrities, ambassadors, ambassadorial deals, right? You're thinking about fashion technology companies that are coming up. I saw the questions on AI, right? Those are companies that are building and innovating in the fashion industry. They are also manufacturers. They are a big part of the fashion industry. They are textile designers or textile companies. They are logistic companies that help with the movement of product from one country or one location to the next. So there are a lot of areas that you can see that that they can possibly form your clientele if you decide to be a fashion lawyer. So there are other laws that are concerned with the fashion industry, not just intellectual property. Intellectual property is part of it. Contract law, corporate and company law. There is labor and employment law. There is consumer protection. There is data protection, international trade law. There is taxation. There is also environmental and sustainability regulations. Those are very, very important. There are other parts, there's corporate governance, there are a lot of areas, but these are the laws that I can off of the top of my head say that they apply to the fashion industry. There's also advertisement law. They are all part of it. They form the bedrock of the operations.
Okay, I think Miss Bernice is up again. We sincerely really do apologize for the network issues in class today. We hope she'll be joining us shortly. I think it's just connection issues from my end. So please, we'll try to reach out back to her again so that you can join in back for the session. So please, sorry, a few moments and we'll continue from where she will continue from where she stopped. Sorry about that once again.
Hello, can anyone hear me? Please, what happens next? Do we just all hold on?
Yeah, please just hold on a bit. I'm trying to get through to her so that she can continue with the class. So sorry about it. I'm trying to reach her.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry once again. She'll be joining us shortly. Right, she'll be joining us shortly. She's just trying to rectify the network challenge on my end. So please let's just bear a little patience and hold on a bit. Hello, Ma. Sorry, it seems your network logged you out. So please, Ma, we would like for you to carry on. Sorry about the network.
Yes. I will just run through the slides again because I'm currently standing outside. But um, I'll just run through what I was saying. I honestly don't know where I stopped, but I know that I was talking about the various applicable laws, and then I entered into what you basically do, that's human resource admin and all those many things that you do for brands. Then okay, I'm actually almost done. So yes, for you to develop skills in the fashion industry, there are things that you have to look at during or knowledge. Sorry, there are a lot of on, and that's law relating to the fashion industry. You know, you have to know trends, things that are happening in the industry. You have to have knowledge of supply chain issues, right? You have to have knowledge on fashion councils, knowledge on brands, you know, shows, different activities that happen in the fashion industry, and also be abreast with government guidelines and scheme relating to the industry. One of the things that I've realized is that the fashion industry is so interconnected, right? Of the laws that they would create that would affect the fashion industry, it's not exactly called fashion law, or they would not name it fashion law, but you know that that particular law, when enacted, would affect a regular fashion business. Like, for example, we had the AMCON or the ACON Act that was, you know, passed into law recently. And there was a section of that law that says that black models white models are prohibited from advertising in Nigeria, or brands are prohibited from using white model. So they definitely would not obviously call it law, fashion law expressly, but you would see that it is just shattered or scattered around different policies and regulations that you see. You just have to be very aware of what is happening and how that the law that they are enacting day to day affects. You get skills, internship, events and networking, publication and research, and just generally announcements and case laws or case studies on brands. So I always like to say that the major role of lawyer in the African continent is social impact. That means that you have to be forward thinking. The stage of the industry requires a lot of people to build rather than just come and take. So the fashion industry is at the building stage where people are just discovering that IP can actually protect something in the fashion industry. What IP applies, a lot of people are still thinking about how it applies to indigenous fashion brands, right? So it's a building stage that we are at right now in the fashion industry on the African continent. So yeah, that's basically everything. I hope that even though my network interrupted and a lot of things, you're able to pick something from what I have said so far. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Damilola. So I think we'll be going next to the presentation, right?
Yeah, sorry about that. My network was a bit shaky, so I did not hear you when you said you were done. So thank you very much, Ma. So please, can we have the presenters for the session start their presentation so that we can head into feedback and then questions. So please, Group 1 presenter, if you're with us, please kindly share your slides and start your presentation. Do we have the presenter for Group 1 in class, please? Okay, if we do not have the presenter for Group 1, Group 2, please can you start your presentation while Group 1 gets ready? Please, who is the presenter for Group 2?
Hi, good evening. I'm the presenter for Group 2. Please, could you help me project my slides?
All right, give me a few minutes. Just try and start with the introduction while I get your slides on.
Okay. Okay, so for Group 2, we'll be talking about financing, distribution, infringement, and enforcement, and then contracts.
Please give me a few minutes. I'm just having a little difficulties on my end, but it will be coming up soon.
All right, thank you. Okay, I feel I should just go on with it while you get the slides up from my end. Okay, so as we know that
Carry on.
most businesses, you said what?
Please carry on.
Okay. So as we know that most businesses needs funding or financing, fashion business also needs financing. So there are different ways or different mediums by which fashion businesses are financed. And the first one is personal savings and financial support from family and friends. So, and this method or this particular, what's the name? This particular mode is common in this part of the world where you mostly see probably your friends that are into fashion. They do personal savings or they seek for support from family and friends to be like, oh, I want to launch a collection. Please, could you help me with something and stuff like that. And also bank loans, which is the second one, bank loans and credit facilities. So access to bank loans is often hindered by high interest rates and all these collateral requirements, bureaucratic application processes. But it's still one very viable source of securing finances for fashion business. Then the third one is government and private sector grants. There are grants which are given by CBN, which is called the Creative Industry Financing Initiative, which provides funding for fashion entrepreneurs. There's the one for Bank of Industry, which is the Fashion and Textile Fund, which is to support fashion designers and manufacturer, textile manufacturer. There's also the TEF grant, which is Tony Elumelu Foundation grants, which provides capital for African entrepreneurs. This one covers all entrepreneurs, not just fashion entrepreneurs. And then the last one is venture capital and angel investors. So venture capital and angel investors, they provide funding for people that have convinced them enough to invest in their businesses. Once you've convinced them that your business is profitable, they would invest. I'm on the third slide. Yes, thank you. They would invest, and but this is with the requirement that you must have a well-structured business model. Yes. So for this financing as well, there are challenges. Basically, there's nothing without challenges here. So challenges in accessing financing for fashion business. There's usually the high interest rate on loans. We mentioned that when we're talking about the loans that are interest rates. There is the collateral requirements. For loans, there can be very, very high requirements for collaterals. They could say, oh, your collateral must be worth this and that and that. And as a fashion entrepreneur that is just starting, you might not be able to have access to collaterals or properties or whatever they ask for that is up to that amount. So that's a challenge on the part of the fashion entrepreneur. Then limited investor interest. Ventures capitalists and angel investors often prefer tech-based startup over fashion, which reason being that for now, we would say tech is like the new money in town now. That is where almost every investor's eye are, not really fashion. Though fashion is actually a very, very good investment for people that have keen eyes for investment. And then there is inconsistent government policies, like frequent policy changes, and that's usually due to change in government and change in administration generally, because a particular administration might set up an initiative that promotes fashion business. And after his tenure, a new administration will come and just be like, oh, it's not his policy or it's not his initiative, and scraps it. So that on its own is a challenge. Then lack of financial literacy. Many fashion entrepreneurs struggle with financial management. Yes, I would say for a fact that in this part of the world where we are, a lot of people suffer from financial literacy. No proper bookkeeping, stock keeping, no proper accounts records and all, which leads to mismanagement of funds, even though most might not be intentional on the part of the fashion entrepreneur. Okay, so we'll move to distribution in fashion business and law. Within the fashion industry, distribution refers to the process of getting clothing, accessories, and other fashion products from the manufacturer or designer to the end consumer. And distribution involves three aspects, which is getting the product to the market, managing logistics, reaching target audience. Then also there are different modes or channels of distribution, which is the wholesales, where fashion brand sells to retailers, who then sells to consumers. And then there is retail, where fashion brand sells their products directly to consumers through their own stores, website, or e-commerce platform, just like going to a Cartier store, going to a Zara store, or the likes of it. And then there is direct to consumer, which is also called DTC, where fashion brands sell their products directly to consumers, bypassing traditional retailers. Then there is e-commerce, where fashion brands sell their products online through their own websites or through online marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, AliExpress, and the likes. And there is departmental store, where fashion brands sell their product to department stores, which then sells to the consumers. And then there's specialty store, where fashion brands sell their product to stores that focuses on specific types of products like athletic wears, children clothing. I think for a fact, most of us are familiar with Pep. They mostly sell children clothing. They sell adult clothing, yes, but they mostly sell children's clothing. So that's an example of a specialty store. Then boutiques, where fashion brand sells their products to boutiques, which are small upscale stores that often carry unique or high-end products. Then effective distribution is very important, as it impacts three major aspects, which is brand visibility, sales, and customer experience. Brand visibility in the sense that getting products into the right stores and online platform can increase brand visibility and reach. This helps the brand to be known, basically. Then sales. Distribution channels can affect sales, as products needs to be available in the right place and at the right time to meet consumer demands. Then the customer experience. Distribution channels can also impact the customer experience, as products need to be delivered quickly and efficiently to meet customers' expectation. Then we move to infringement and enforcement in fashion and business, or fashion and business law rather. So fashion law primarily deals with trademark, copyright, and design rights, as well as counterfeiting and unfair competition. Infringement occurs when somebody uses, duplicates, or distributes protected intellectual property without authorization, while enforcement involves legal action to protect those rights. So there are several types of infringement in fashion business. The first one is trademark infringement. Especially in the fashion industry, brands rely on trademarks, that is logo, brand names, and keywords, so to establish their identity. Infringement occurs when a third party uses a similar mark or even the same mark, causing consumers confusion. For example, counterfeit luxury clothes and shoes. Then there is copyright infringement. In some jurisdictions, original fabric prints, artwork, and unique fashion sketches may be copyrighted. However, in many cases, general clothing designs are not protected by copyright law. We all know of, or let's say most of us, we know of this big fashion brand, Tubo, where she threatened to sue anybody who copies her design, right? So she was trying to protect her copyright, in that sense. Then trade dress infringement. Trade dress infringement protects the overall appearance of a product. For example, distinctive packaging or store layout. Infringement occurs when a competitor copies the look and feel of a brand. For example, we know that this brand MS, they have a particular way they brand their product. Once we see orange with a particular logo, most of the time we already automatically know that, oh, it is this brand. So let's say, for example, another brand copies exactly the orange, but probably just a different black logo on it. That can serve as trade dress infringement. Then design patent infringement. This protects ornamental aspects of fashion items. For example, unique shoe soles or handbag shapes. For example, now, Dr. Martens, once you see Dr. Martens shoe design, you automatically know that it's Dr. Martens, even without the brand name on it or whatnot, because once you see a huge sole with yellow or white thread tapings around, you automatically know that is Dr. Martens. So let's say another brand or just a small brand copies it, that's design patent infringement, because I don't know if they actually did patent it, but once you see that, you automatically just assume it's Dr. Martens, right? So yes. Please hold on. And I move to counterfeiting. The illegal production of branded goods, often sold as cheap knockoffs. This happens a lot, and apologies if I'm going to step on anybody's toes, but we know that this happens a lot. We call it Abba made, where instead of Fila, you're going to see Sleep, or instead of Prada, you're going to see something else, or Adidas, you're going to see something else. So that's counterfeiting, and it violates multiple intellectual property laws and harm brand reputation. Then unfair competition and passing off. If a company misleads consumers by imitating another brand's products without authorization, it may lead to legal actions. So we then move to the enforcement mechanism. So there are several ways by which we can enforce our IP rights in fashion, although it's complex due to the industry fast-paced nature and difficulty in protecting designs under copyright or patent laws. But yes, there's still some enforcement mechanisms. So the first one is the cease and desist letters. This is the first step in enforcement, where you demand the infringer to stop using their protected designs or trademark. That's the first step. Then there is trademark registration, which provides legal protection and makes it easier to pursue infringement claims. So as a fashion brand, one of the first things to do to protect yourself before the cease and desist actually should be trademark registration. Then the third one, litigation and lawsuits. Brands can file lawsuits seeking damages and injunctions to stop further infringement. For example, Louboutin's Red Soul trademark against, please, I don't know how to pronounce that, against St. Laurel's. So yeah, Louboutin's Red. I think for a fact they've imprinted that in our minds, that the first thing you remember once you see a red soul is usually Christian Louboutin. So yeah. And then custom and border protection. Many countries allow brands to register trademarks with custom authorities to block counterfeit imports. So we can always do that, register with other countries, the custom of other countries. Then there is the online takedown notice, DMCA, and e-commerce platforms. Brands can request removal of infringing product from websites like Amazon, eBay, Instagram, and the likes. Then there is another, enforcement mechanism is alternative dispute resolution, ADR, which we know. And then the last one is brand protection strategies, like registering IP rights in multiple jurisdictions, working with legal teams to monitor potential infringements, and collaborating with authorities to shut down counterfeits. Then we move to contracts in fashion and business law. I feel contract is a day-to-day activity we engage in as individuals, though it might not be written. Some might be written, some might be unwritten. But yeah, contracts is a day-to-day activity. So in every industry, there's always contracts. So contract is entered into between fashion business and its consumers concerning the sale of goods or supply of service, with or without accompanying products. It typically outlines the terms of sale, available payment option, quality assurances, and liability of damaged goods. Contracts are essential because one, they minimize risk, they help misunderstanding and protect both the business and the consumer. Nigeria law supports this protection under common law principles and statutory framework, such as Sales of Goods Act and the Nigeria Consumer Protection Act. Then it protects both parties. Contract protects both parties as they detail how and when payments are made, what triggers this payment, what recourse is available if a party fails to adhere to the agreement. And this and the KAMA, the Company and Allied Matters Act of 2020 further reinforces the enforceability of such agreements in Nigeria. And also, contracts clearly specify rights and obligation. Like we said, apart from protecting both parties, it specifies rights and obligations of each party. It also ensures enforceability, as there's always a written record of full understanding of the business relationship and scope of work, which leaves no room for later claims of misunderstanding. Then it also articulates remedies. In the event where one party fails to perform, the contract clearly defines the remedies and quantifying both the potential upside and downside inherent in the relationship, despite the resolution clauses, dispute resolution clauses, including provision for mediation or arbitration, are critical to avoid the high cost of litigation. So we move to types of contracts in the fashion industry. There is the consignment contract, which is between a retailer, who is known as the consignor, and an agent, who is known as the consignee, granting the right to sell or exhibit fashion apparels or inventory. There's the showroom rent contract, which is an agreement between a showroom owner and a fashion designer for renting space to sell merchandise, often involving periodic rent payments. There's also franchise contract, where one party, the franchisor, grants another, the franchisee, the authority to operate a business under the franchisor's brand. Example in the Nigeria market includes various local fashion outlets operating under established brand names. Advertisement and promotional contracts, which is usually between a designer, retailer, or manufacturer and an advertising agency to promote products in exchange for a fee. Then there is employment contract, which covers the roles in modeling, designing, manufacturing, logistics, and ensuring clear terms of remuneration, confidentiality, and intellectual property rights. Also, there is outsourcing contracts, such as fashion management, fashion event management, human resources, service, and technology outsourcing. So, key elements of fashion contracts. For a contract to be valid and enforceable, it must include offer and acceptance, consideration, capacity, legality, intellectual property protection, confidentiality, payment terms, dispute resolution, termination terms, and Nigeria legal backends. I feel I should not go into details of this because I would assume that we all know the elements of contract. So then I'm going to move. In Nigeria, in the fashion industry, contracts in the fashion industry are enforced under several legal frameworks, including the Sales of Goods Act. Okay, the Sales of Goods Act, Companies and Allied Matters Act, which is CAMA, Nigeria Consumer Protection Act, Arbitration and Conciliation Act, Intellectual Property Law. And then we move to a case study in Nigeria, which is the Adekunle Fashion Limited versus AZ. Please excuse me. So Adekunle Fashion Limited, a well-known Nigeria retailer, entered into a contract with a local supplier, AZ, to deliver a new line of fashion apparels. The contract includes clauses regarding payment terms, quality assurance, and liability for damaged goods. However, ambiguous language regarding quality specifications and timing of payment led to a dispute when the delivered goods did not meet the expected standard. So basically, this case is mostly covering specificity in contracts, that words used in contract or terms used in contract should not be ambiguous, rather more specific. That is what this case is basically talking about. So in conclusion, ensuring that contracts are clear and fair and legally binding is crucial for the success and protection of a fashion business. With Nigeria's legal framework such as Sales of Goods Act, CAMA, and the Arbitration and Conciliation Act supporting these contracts, and with lessons drawn from real-world disputes like Adekunle Fashion Limited versus AZ, and also this Yemoli's wife's case too is a good example. It is evident that engaging legal professionals during contract drafting is an investment in the long-term stability and reputation of your business. Thank you very much. I've come to the end of my presentation.
All right,
Thank
thank you very
you.
much, Iniolua. So sorry, I was having a little issues following you because of my network. My network has been unstable, and so sorry about that. So please, we'll be moving over to group two. Please, the group two presenter, if you are ready. The group one presenter, if you are ready, please start your presentation and let's make it as quick as possible so that we can get feedback, take question, and end in good time. Right, so please, presenter for group one, the floor is yours for your presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, please, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Sorry, my network has been
Okay, please,
misbehaving,
can
but
you
we can
also
hear
see
you.
my screen?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Okay, it's visible. All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Fina. I'm presenting on behalf of Group 1. I'm sorry for the delay. I just got back from work and I needed to put myself together to get ready for the class. Okay, our topic today is on fashion business and law. And starting from on the introduction, we heard our mentor saying that fashion business and law entails a lot even beyond the fashion business itself. Yeah, and she spoke about um shoes, not just the fashion brand, but also businesses like that, deserves franchising and all that. And It's just that I think a lot of people in Nigeria are yet to come to a knowledge of this. So for our table of content today, first is introduction to fashion business and law. Number 2 is intellectual property rights in, oh God, why does it look like I cannot see my screen? Please just hold on. Please, I see my screen.
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, I don't know what's happening here. I'm trying to see I could adjust this. Okay, and the third one is licensing and slash franchising. The fashion industry is a dynamic and creative sector combining artistry. Please, can you all hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? My network is misbehaving.
Please go ahead.
Okay. The fashion industry is dynamic and creates
Hello, Phil, we can hear you.
okay. I'm sorry about my network, please. I'm trying to use my phone. Okay. The fashion industry is a dynamic and creative sector combining artistry and commerce. In Nigeria, the fashion business is not just about designing clothes. It involves a complex interplay of legal principles that protects the rights of designers, brands, and consumers. Understanding the legal landscape is crucial for anyone looking to succeed in this vibrant industry. Intellectual property rights in fashion business. Intellectual property rights are essential in the fashion industry as they protect the unique creations of designers. In Nigeria, the primary forms of intellectual property protection are relevant to fashion. Fashion includes the following: 1, copyright; 2, trademark; 3, industrial designs. The next slide is primary forms of intellectual property protection in Nigeria. Copyright. This protects original works of authorship, including fashion designs, patterns, and textiles. Let's talk about Vicky James as one of the popular brands of, our fashion industry. Everyone knows Vicky James, and she once had a case on Instagram, which I don't know if a lot of us here follow her, where she dragged a particular fashion designer who is a colleague in the industry for always copying her style of clothes, and only to discover that she herself at the time had not protected her business. So she had this encounter with the person, and the it wasn't taken to court, yeah, because it was someone she trained. And so they were able to resolve the issue. And I think afterwards she was able to get business actually trademarked, such that every of her clothes she makes, because she says she draws her designs all the time, so every clothes she makes now, she'll have to put a label, a lapel, or whatever it is, in order to show that that is her work, like she never copied it from anyone. That's a typical example of that. Another example is if a designer creates a unique dress pattern, they can register it under the copyright. But the question is, in Nigeria, how many of our fashion designers are thinking that they can actually do that when we have what we know is known as Pinterest? Everyone who comes to meet a tailor or a fashion designer tells this fashion designer, this is what I want you to make for me. And a lot of them copy this from Pinterest. The question is, on Pinterest, everyone who posts pictures on Pinterest, does Pinterest have a way of protecting the fashions of various brands like Vicky James and Sonuola and some other persons? That's a question we need to answer for ourselves. All right, so the next one is trademark. A trademark protects brand names, logos, slogans that distinguish goods or services. For instance, if a fashion brand like Zara has a unique logo, it can register its logo as a trademark under the Trademark Act of 1990. This prevents other businesses from using a similar logo that could confuse consumer. It doesn't just mean that businesses cannot use whatever this brand has, Zara has, but they can also get what we call like a permission through what we call either a license from Zara. That can be possible. The next one is industrial designs. This protects the aesthetic aspect of a product, such as the shape, pattern, or color of a garment. For example, if a designer creates a unique handbag shape, they can register it as an industrial design under the Industrial Designs Act of 2007, ensuring that no one else can produce a similar handbag without permission. I think I want to say that in Nigeria, a lot of people, particularly in the Aba community, where there's a lot of people know how to produce bags. Like the last time I visited, I don't think a lot of them are still aware that they can actually protect their this thing. They can actually have industrial this thing designs to protecting their products. However, a lot of them too at the same time will not want to do it because they know that what they produce is actually a copy and paste thing. And so they will not want to see the need to protect that. So the next topic is licensing and franchising. Licensing and franchising are popular strategies in the fashion business that allows companies to expand their brand presence and revenue streams. So we all know what licensing is all about, and we also know what franchising is all about. So in the case of franchising, we know that Kilimanjaro can actually sell out its franchise to any person, whether they are private or group of persons, to operate in the name and style of Kilimanjaro. However, Kilimanjaro will not just end there. Whatever structure they use in building their place, all that, I mean, ranging from the structures to the designs, to the sitting positions, to the chairs, to the staffs, all that would come from them once the licensee or the licensee, yeah, applies to get their franchise. The franchise, oh, did I say licensee? The franchisee applies to get the franchise from the franchise. So sorry for my English. All right, so the next one is licensing in fashion business. Licensing involves granting permission to third-party company to use a brand's IP, that's intellectual property, such as logos, trademark, or designs in exchange for royalties. And I think this one is really common to music. Yeah, licensing is really common to music. While for places like Kilimanjaro, like I mentioned, or Market Square, or ShopRite and so on, those ones are definitely going to sell out their franchise. So types of licensing includes trademark licensing, which allows the licensee to use the brand's trademark or logo. 2, copyright licensing. This grants permission to use the brand's copyrighted materials, such as designs and patterns. Please, am I still being heard?
Yes, we can
Hello?
hear you. We
Okay.
can
Oh,
hear you.
sorry. This looks like my. All right. So the third one is character licensing. This involves licensing a brand's characters such as cartoon characters or mascots. And what are the benefits of licensing? First, it increases brand visibility. And this can be exemplified where, for instance, if someone comes and says, okay, um, um which other brand again should I use? I think I've mentioned Kilimanjaro too much. Okay. Oh God, what's it? Okay, let's just talk about Market Square. Market Square, I need your license to be able to operate in this way. For them to get that of Market Square, because everyone knows Market Square all over Nigeria. So that alone is enough. Anyone who passes by Market Square will definitely shop at Market Square, unlike having just a personal supermarket, giving it just a name and style, or maybe Ogechuku and Co. Market Square, or maybe For You Market Square, and so on and so forth. So these are the benefits of licensing. Number two is revenue generation. I bet you that under licensing, it increases your revenue such that the turnover you'll be making as a private business owner will not be like as a person who is licensed under Market Square will not be the turnover you'll be making as a private business supermarket, let's say for instance. Why? Because Market Square already has become so popular in Nigeria, and so everyone trusts their services, and so the more reason everyone will want to patronize them. So the next one is reduced risk. Yes. I think because a lot of people must have been shopping with Market Square for over many years, and as a result of that, it's reduced a lot of risk. Unlike when you have your personal your personal supermarket. Another typical example again, okay, no, let me not mention that. I don't think it falls in. All right, so the next slide is franchising. So franchising involves franchising fashion business. Franchising in fashion business. Franchising here involves granting a third party the franchise the right to operate a business using the brand's business model, trademarks, and proprietary systems. I think I mentioned this earlier. Yeah, that I recall saying that, let's say, for instance, Kilimanjaro is giving out their franchise. And in doing so, Kilimanjaro will ensure that you use everything that belongs to them and you don't have to go against their principle. That's what franchising is all about. Okay, so the types of franchising includes business format franchising, which involves granting the franchisee the right to operate a business using the brand's business model and proprietary system. Number two, product distribution franchise focuses on distribution of products such as fashion apparel or accessories. So what are the benefits? Just like how licensing has its benefits, so does franchise do. So the benefits of franchising includes rapid expansion, which I had explained under licensing, yeah, and increase in brand visibility and also shared risk. Yeah, because if, for instance, under the shared risk, if, for instance, any part of Kilimanjaro falls in Nigeria, it may affect even the owner of Kilimanjaro, in other states and all that here. So that's where the shared risk comes in. So what are the challenges that are common in franchising is upfront investment and resource intensive. It is very difficult for people to gather money together and see they want to open up or get the franchise of, let's say, all the spaces I've mentioned to open up. So sometimes I think groups usually come together to be able to do that because individuals cannot just raise up that capital to do all that. So the next subtopic is business.
Fina, please, can you hear me?
Yes,
Please,
I can
if
hear
it's
you, please.
can you try to speed up your presentation?
Okay, all right. So the key consideration includes the brand protection, quality control, contact negotiation, and ongoing support. So examples of fashion brands that have successfully implemented licensing in Nigeria includes the Armani, the Ralph Lauren, the Zara. Like Zara is very popular. I mean, everyone knows Zara, and H&M also. So what are the resources for licensing and franchising in fashion business? One is the international licensing industry. Two is the Merchandise Association, that's Lima. Everyone knows Lima. The International Franchise Association, the Fashion Law Institute, and the National Retail Federation. In conclusion, um, the fashion business in Nigeria is intricately linked to various legal principles that protect creativity and facilitate business operations. Understanding intellectual property rights, licensing, and franchising is crucial for anyone looking to thrive in competitive industry. So our questions to our mentor is what ways can upcoming fashion creatives who may not be able to afford the patent maintenance um fee be able to protect their works? And number two, what legal actions can fashion brands take against counterfeits? 3. Should AI generated fashion designs be eligible for IP protection? And if so, who owns the rights? Who owns the rights? The AI developer or the designer using the tool? Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Fina, for that presentation from your end. Well done to you and your team members for putting it together. I want to say a big well done to also Group 2 for their wonderful presentation. I think both groups did a great job in the slides and in the way they presented the slides. I'm sure you guys showed some proper understanding of the topic, and also were able to properly represent each items. So once again, right, we do not have our mentor on call. Network has been terrible for every party so far. And what we have left in today's session is the feedback and is feedback from our mentor and also answers to questions. So if she's unable to join us in the next 5 minutes, I think what we are going to do as regards to this session, what is supposed to be left of the session is we would the questions have already been sent over to her. We'll try to send an email looking for, see if we could get response to the questions. And if, there are response to those questions, then we'll send them to the group so that the questions that have been asked over the course of the presentation can be answered, right? So that's what we are going to be doing. But not to waste any further time, I really sincerely want to thank us for our participation so far in the program, right? I know that, for some of us, we are currently working and, we are doing other things that makes it quite difficult for us to do everything at the same time. But so far so good. We've had two wonderful sections, and including this one, right? And we have two more classes within the entertainment business law, space. So we want to, or I want to say that please let's put in the effort to just make sure that as it regards our tax and what is expected of us, we are able to do what we are able to put in our very best. We're able to put in our very best. Sorry. All right, so sorry about that. My second device was on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be calling it an end to class. Once again, sorry for the network issues we experienced in today's session. We'll try to make sure that we work on it so that in the next class we do not have those issues, and our mentors are ready and on standby to be in class and stay to the end. Right. So well done to everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of today's class. I look forward to seeing you all in today's class and in next week's class, right? Also, us being present to make presentations and also, ask questions when the time for questions come. Like I earlier said, we will be sending over the questions. Yeah, so we did that. We took photographs. We took a picture during the session while we had like quite a number of people in class, but we can still do that again, right? So please, if you want, we can still do that again. So please, you can turn on your video so that we can take a quick screenshot. The lighting in my background is completely bad, right? I do not have power currently where I am. So please, for those who were not part of the last picture we took, if you still can, just turn on your video, we can take pictures and then we'll just call it a day. Okay. All right. So nobody has turned on their video, so it's fine. So it's fine. So see you all in the next class. Please watch out for the tags in the next watch out for the tags for this week that will be sent to the group today. And please let's try to get to work as soon as possible so that we can meet with our deadlines. Thank you once again for joining in for today's session. I wish everybody a wonderful night's rest. Please do enjoy the rest of your evening.